Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's This is Public Health Ambassador Takeover. My name is Jen and my pronouns are she, her. I'm a second year Master of Public Health student at the Colorado School of Public Health. And today we're joined by Dr. Chrissy Chard, Assistant Professor in the Department of Health and Exercise Science at the school. Today we're going to be talking about SmartFit Girls, an organization that Dr. Chard co-founded. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is wonderful.
So to start, could you give us a little bit of an overview of your position at the school and your public health background?
Yes. So I currently, as you mentioned, I'm an assistant professor at the Colorado School of Public Health at CSU's campus and in the Department of Health and Exercise Science. I teach a handful of different courses, one around community and behavioral health, another course on physical activity in public health. I teach a health promotion programming course where this semester we're doing a really community engaged learning experience, essentially facilitating a community engagement, or a community assessment among folks experiencing homelessness. And then I teach a leadership in public health class as well. I also do a little bit of research, as you mentioned, specifically related to SmartFit Girls, which we'll jump in on. And then I do some administrative work, kind of facilitating some of the anti-racism, diversity, equity, inclusion, social justice efforts in our program.
Amazing. And what was your personal journey into focusing on physical health in academia?
Yeah, I think, oftentimes our areas of interest start because there's a personal connection and a personal tie. We started, so my interest was, like I said, sort of personal. I was always physically active growing up, but didn't always view myself as a quote athlete. And I was really interested in this idea of how we define fitness, how we define athletes, who gets to be called an athlete, who doesn't. And what that does to our participation in physical activity when we don't view ourselves as an athlete or as someone who is physically active. So that's kind of how it got started, just with a personal interest, of a love of moving my body. And that's how we all started.
Amazing. Yeah. And so in that timeline, or how did that passion fit into founding SmartFit Girls, and what is the program organization?
Yeah, so my best friend and I, we were in graduate school, and we started noticing that there was an opportunity to provide some wellness coaching. This was probably 8 or 10 years ago. So it was kind of at the time that health coaching and wellness coaching was really ramping up. She and I both had some experience working as a lifestyle counselor at a healthcare clinic in town. And we saw the benefit of doing this sort of wellness coaching, wellness counseling for folks. The way the system is set up is you meet with your physician, maybe you have 10 or 15 minutes, right? And you can't always get into those lifestyle kinds of things. And so in that program, we were referred to by physicians to help folks kind of create a plan for engaging in behaviors that they wanted to in order to lead to healthier lives. And so we had been volunteering in that capacity and thought there might be an opportunity to start our own sort of consulting business. So it actually started way back when we started. It was SmartFit Chicks. It has evolved to SmartFit Women. And that was health coaching for adult women. And, we would meet and talk about how things were going, what our clients were struggling with. And it became so obvious that nearly every woman that we were working with was struggling with self-esteem or body image in ways that was keeping them from being able to engage in healthy lifestyle choices. And so we sort of had this aha moment of, why are we waiting until women are adults to talk about these things, to address these things? Why not support younger women, adolescents in that process? So because we're researchers, we delved into the literature to see what's out there, what programs exist. And we found that there was very little. And so we essentially identified this gap, right? And we knew that adolescent girls, and one thing I'll say is, we're talking today in a pretty binary way, right? We're talking about girls and boys. So I just want to acknowledge that, and we can talk at some point about some of the sort of future directions of Smart Fit Girls. But, at the time when we were looking at the literature, the physical activity rates for girls drop precipitously in that middle school age. And the drop for boys, it exists, but it's not nearly as steep. And so there was a gap in physical activity levels, and the rates of poor body image, low self-esteem are really striking at that age. And so we just thought, let's combine the two things into a program and create this new thing that didn't really exist at the time. And so that's how Smart Fit Girls started. And it's essentially a program that, like I said, it combines physical activity and a curriculum around body image and self-esteem to support the emotional, social, physical health and well-being of adolescent girls. And the way this program is set up, it started as an after-school program. For 10 weeks, a couple times a week, girls would meet. And then we have shifted it in a lot of ways. We still have our after-school version. We also have a summer camp, which is sort of a 1-week intensive version of our curriculum. We partner with school districts now. So some schools have Smart Fit Girls as an elective. Some schools offer it as a PE alternative. So girls can sign up to take Smart Fit Girls instead of traditional PE. And we also now have a virtual version. We tried to respond pretty quickly when COVID happened and take our curriculum online. So those are kind of the different ways that it's offered.
Amazing. And could you talk a bit about the difference between girls and boys, what the health implications are when there's that critical period during adolescence with physical activity?
Yeah. And I think one of the most important things that I want to name right now is Smart Fit Girls. We do our very best to steer clear from any conversation about body weight, any emphasis on body weight. For us, it has nothing to do with body weight, right? For us, it's a matter of knowing, and research is so clear, that engaging in physical activity has a whole host of health benefits that have nothing to do with how your body looks. And so that's a really important distinction for us, that there are mental health reasons, physical health reasons, bone health, cardiovascular health, all kinds of reasons to engage in physical activity, social health, again, that have nothing to do with trying to lose weight or shrink ourselves or get smaller. And that's a really important value of Smart Fit Girls. And the other piece I'll say is our physical activity piece. This is one thing that I think distinguishes us from some of the other programs that exist. We focus almost explicitly on strength training. So we are teaching girls how to lift weights because multiple reasons. One, that's a critical time for maintaining and building bone. And so strength training is an important aspect of physical activity. It's also a really empowering form of physical activity where when you can see what your body can do when it's strong, that translates to your confidence, your self-esteem, right? There's a really important link there. And so for us, it's been important to focus on strength training and to move really intentionally away from messages that have to do with body weight, losing weight, shrinking, getting smaller. And, the other piece of this is there are a lot of young people for whom the opportunities to engage in physical activity become fewer and fewer as they go through school, right? Middle schools across the country are cutting 7th grade girls from the volleyball team if they don't make the cut, right? And these are not conducive to creating lifetime habits and a lifetime love of moving your body. And that's what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. And so you said that the program was founded about 10 years ago, is that right?
We officially became a nonprofit organization in 2015. Prior to that, we had been working more with Smart Fit women, and that's kind of when we pivoted.
Amazing. And what have you seen from the students participating in your program their attitudes towards physical activity and their bodies, and as they age, what has that been like?
Yeah, one of the things that we have found really important is to ensure that what we're doing is evidence informed. So we have quite a bit of research on our program. We do a lot of qualitative data, so we certainly have some pre and post surveys. We've got some quantitative data, but what feels really important to us are the stories and the experiences and the why behind, the survey might show girls improve their body image, but what we want to understand better is why, what about the program leads to those changes. And so we have a few publications that really delve into that why, and it's a few different things. I'll just give you an example. One of them is because our program shifts girls' focus from what their bodies look like to what their bodies can do. And that shift changes the way that we view our bodies. So we have some research to kind of support that. The other thing that we have just started doing is tracking girls a little bit longer term so that we can better understand some of the longer term impacts. And then the last piece I'll say is we try to make opportunities for young women who go through our program to stay engaged in the program. So we've had girls come back and serve as junior coaches and then coaches for the program. We also have a youth advisory board made up of young women who've gone through our program that help in decision making about all kinds of different things related to our organization. So yeah, we're doing things to try to keep girls engaged over time and sort of keep them part of the SmartFit Girls community as it grows.
Yeah. And as you said, the program itself is growing and changing, and we're coming to the end of our time. So I'll ask you one more question about, how are you evolving the program and expanding it to include more non-binary individuals, and what does that look like and why is it important?
Yeah, it's such a good question, Jen, and I appreciate you asking. It's kind of been this ever present for the last few years, and we're finally making some strides. It's a couple things. One, it's not only, could we say, so we're working on a more expansive view of what it means to be a girl, right? Mm-hmm. And anyone who identifies as a girl, at this point, we want them to feel welcome in our program, but it's not just about saying that, it's about really delving into our curriculum and looking at where are we too narrowly defining things, where are we stereotyping, right? And so we're in this process right now of trying to delve into the curriculum. We have engaged with some folks who are non-binary to kind of put that lens on it to say, this will not feel resonant with me. I don't align with this idea. And here's what else you would need to add or shift to make it more inclusive. And so that's kind of our process right now. And the thing I think that is an important question to ask, and I think everyone will have different opinions, is one of the things that we hear all the time in terms of feedback from girls who participate in our program is how important the space is to have the shared experience, how much comfort there is. And so what does that look like to be more inclusive? Is there an opportunity to have SmartFit kids or SmartFit, maybe it's just SmartFit, right? But is there an opportunity still to have sort of affinity groups where young people who identify as girls still have this space together? Young people who identify as non-binary have a space together, because that is something that we hear all the time in our feedback. And so we're kind of working through it right now. We're excited about, again, trying to be really responsive, because ultimately at the end of the day, we want young people to feel strong in their bodies. We want young people to feel valued. We want young people to be able to step into their inherent greatness and dignity and worth. And so whatever we need to do to support that, we are on board with.
Dr. Chard, thank you so much for being here and sharing your knowledge and everything that Smart Fit Goals is trying to embody and what that means. And for viewers wanting to know more about this subject, I'm going to be sharing resources and different materials that you can engage in to learn more. But for now, thank you so much for your time, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you so much. Yeah, if folks want to get involved, there's lots of ways. You know, we are very open to volunteers, to bringing in folks who have different expertise than we do to help grow and improve our program. So please do connect with us if it's something that you're interested in.
And I'll have those details as well for them.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.